If you're trying to get a TRUIST business line of credit, there is a methodology that you need to follow. And in today's conversation, I'll share everything with you from A to Z. So here are the basics I want you to really pay attention to. So when you think about a TRUIST business line of credit, you want to think about an institution that is very generous, that will work with you, and but you just have to follow a certain formula. So number one, you want to remember that there is a window here. So you could be approved for up to $100,000. This is for the unsecured line of credit. There is also the secure line of credit I'll speak about later on. But if you go with if you want to go with something collateralized, in other words, secured line of credit, you could actually qualify for a larger amount. But if you are trying to go for something unsecured, the maximum business line of credit that you can get from TRUIST is $100,000. In terms of the repayment window, TRUIST want to actually trust you within 12 to 36 months. That's if like at the very onset of the relationship. The longer the relationship you have with them, and the larger the trust, then TRUIST can actually expand the repayment window all the way to 60 months. But right now, when you start with them, it's basically 12 to 36 months. So you actually can get the cash to manage seasonal cash flow, expand inventory, or grab hold of a new opportunity, new business opportunity, not a problem. What we love about TRUIST here is that you can apply online for this business line of credit, or you can apply at a branch, or you can apply over the phone. So, and the cool thing here is that you will access the funds by transferring money to your checking account or by writing checks. And TRUIST makes the whole process seamless. We love that a lot. And what we love about the revolving business line of credit from TRUIST is that you can actually use it for nearly everything. I mean, like, TRUIST is not placing restrictions. We see this a lot. Some lenders, including Chase and Citi, they will place restrictions on the business lines of credit they actually grant you. But TRUIST is not doing that. They actually will trust you to do the right thing for your business with the cash, and you can access working capital where and when you need it. And this is kind of cool, especially if you're trying to navigate the ebbs and flows of this economy, which can sometimes be a little crazy. And TRUIST is really great in terms of giving you the cash to cover seasonal or revolving cash flow, especially if you are in an industry where seasonality plays an important role. Let's say you maybe make some of your money in the first 3 or 4 months of the year. You might need a TRUIST business line of credit to actually cover like the rest of the year in terms of liquidity. Let me give you the approach you want to follow here. If you are trying to really, if you're considering a TRUIST business line of credit, you need to understand that basically TRUIST wants you to first have a relationship with them. You can basically you can apply if you don't have a relationship, but for TRUIST to approve you and give you a larger amount, it helps if you already have a business checking account or savings account with TRUIST. And in terms of relationship, you can build a relationship at the business level and or at the personal level. So you can have a personal checking account or savings account, and also a business account also. It's really important to understand, if you want to actually accelerate things, you have 3 ways. You can actually apply online, you can apply at a branch, or you can actually call a TRUIST to have them take care of you. So in terms of the phone number to call is 855-917-6189. The number again is 855-917-6189. So you can actually apply. You can apply over the phone. Just make sure you have your paperwork ready, because when you apply online, TRUIST business line of credit rep, they will ask you a series of questions, and because see, the thing is that they have to ask that question because they need to input the data into the system before telling you whether you approve or not. In some cases, they might approve you right away. Yeah, this happens, but this happens if you have a relationship, I would say a prior relationship or a current relationship with TRUIST. So if they already have your data, if they have seen the cash inflows and cash outflows, if they have an idea about your situation with them, they might approve you right away. Otherwise, it takes 1 to 2 days for TRUIST to review your business line of credit application and approve you. Okay, just remember that you also TRUIST is actually, because it's really encouraging you to apply for a line of credit ASAP, but make sure again that you have the right relationship. But most important also, you have to pay attention to your outstanding credit products. If do you currently have a business, do you have a business credit card with TRUIST? Do you have other credit products open? If you do, then make sure that you at least you reduce the amount first. You can so that you can have a lower CUR before applying for this TRUIST business line of credit. Okay, and one thing I want to mention, by the way, here is that TRUIST actually offers up to $200 if you have a new business checking accounts with them. So they're trying to incentivize you to open a bank account with them. This is kind of cool. So when we talk about TRUIST and we're having a conversation about a business line of credit, just keep in mind there are other lending programs, there are other business funding programs available at TRUIST. Okay, TRUIST is an let's say an all-in-one bank. It's a regional bank that actually is geo-restricted, but they actually cover a lot of states. And so I want to quickly go through the pros and cons of TRUIST as an institution, especially if you have to think of them in terms of your business line of credit lender. So here are the pros. So TRUIST works with small business owners with no set minimum time in business or annual revenue requirements. So there are no requirements for annual revenue. You have a wide suite of traditional lending products from business line of credit to business loans all the way to business equipment financing. And more than 100% financing is available for auto loans and commercial vehicle and equipment loans. What about the cons here? You have relatively small loan amounts across most categories. This lender, TRUIST that is not transparent about its rates or minimum credit score requirements. No SBA loans are available as of now, and there can be balloon payments on secure term loans rather, and commercial real estate loans. So the thing here is that TRUIST is kind of cool, but they have their weaknesses too. So TRUIST is for those small business owners who are borrowing relatively small amounts, because the maximum loan amounts cap out at $250,000. For the business line of credit, they cap out at $100,000. So you won't be able to borrow millions if you go with TRUIST. If you want traditional lending products, you will find a wide constellation of traditional lending products like term loans and lines of credit, but you won't find last-minute financing products like merchant cash advances or invoicing financing. And so if you're not looking for SBA funding, then this is kind of fun, because TRUIST right now is not an SBA lender. I want to give you a little details here. I want to give you a few details about the TRUIST business line of credit and the larger picture about the TRUIST business funding programs. So it's really important to understand that TRUIST is an all-in-one financial institution, and all-in-one except the SBA part though. Okay, so when it comes to I want to quickly go through the catalog of products they offer. So for the unsecured term loan amount $3,500 to $100,000 up to 60 months. There is an origination fee of 0.5% to or $100, whichever is greater. They have secure term loans that go from $3,500 to $250,000. Repayment term up to 60 months with 180 months in terms of amortization. The APR is not disclosed. There's an origination fee of the origination fee is similar for all loan programs. In other words, 0.5% or $100, whichever is greater. For the unsecured line of credit, it goes from $3,500 to $100,000. The repayment term is 12 to 36 months. For the secure line of credit, we go from $3,500 to $250,000, and the repayment term is 60 months. For auto small business loans, $3,500 to $250,000, up to 75 months in terms of repayment term. And for commercial vehicle and equipment loans, you have $3,500 to $250,000, and you go all the way to up to 84 months. And for real estate loans, you have $3,500 to $250,000, and the months go all the way to 300 months. So the point I'm trying to make here is that when we speak about today's topic, which is how to get a TRUIST business line of credit, I just want to reinforce the fact that you can actually try other business funding programs at Truist, but just be mindful of the fact that you're not going to borrow millions from the institution, from this institution, okay? And if you are looking for an SBA loan, you're not going to get it through Truist. The thing here is that you are basically, for all intents and purposes, kept at around $250,000, and it doesn't matter whether you collateralize the loan or line of credit, or that you just whatever. Truist is limiting its risk, is a systemic risk, if you want to call it that way, or is default risk to $250,000. So just think deeply before actually choosing Truist, if that's what you want, right? Truist has a lot of great things going for it, a lot of great capabilities. But hey, listen, in terms of the limited funding programs, yes, $250,000. I want to talk to you about eligibility. Let's have a conversation about how to get a Truist business line of credit and what are the eligibility requirements here. Now, in terms of the minimum annual revenue, Truist will start considering you if you are making $100,000 a year. They don't have any official number online, but based on our research and based on the transactions we have covered for our own business clients, we saw in those transactions that Truist will actually consider you if you are making at least $100,000. That's gross revenue every year. In terms of the minimum time in business, actually, Truist will start looking at you if you've been in business for 2 years. So if you have not been in business for 2 years, you might want to think about another lender, unless you have a strong relationship with Truist. Because usually, for startup business loans at banks, it's better if you are applying for an SBA loan. But given the fact that Truist is not an SBA lender, then you might want to think about another lender here. In terms of the minimum credit score, Truist will start accepting you if you are around 600. That's for your FICO score. For your PATRIKIOS score, they'll start looking at you at 80. So that's really the basis here. But one thing I want to say here is that Truist has also other requirements based on the specific line of credit that you need, especially also based on your geography, but also based on your the economic sector you're in. And there are instances where they will ask you for having a business plan. They'll ask you for your tax returns. So, for instance, if you are in a quote unquote sensitive industry or sensitive economic sector, they might ask for your tax returns just to make sure that you are in compliance with the law. Truist might ask for a certificate of good standing from state authorities to make sure that your LLC, your S corporation, your C corporation, your LP, or whatever, though the company is in good standing. And you also might have, so your tax returns, you might have to provide your 1065 or 1120s or 1120 for Truist to make sure to have a better understanding of your overall finances. And this is kind of important because at the end of the day, if they're going to lend you up to $250,000, that's still money. I mean, you might be thinking for a big bank such as Truist, this is nothing. Yes, but it's just the way they want to manage their risk, and it definitely makes sense. This is a paperwork you must have ready to actually qualify for a Truist business line of credit. So number one, you want to think about your basic information about your business and yourself, right? Everything about the business, the name, first name, last name, things like the zip code, the address, all that kind of stuff. So the same applies to your own. So you want to have like your residential address. Like, of course, this assumes that you are a controlling owner of the business. So this is like, so personal information and basic business information. So overall, we just categorize this into basic information. Number two, the credit information, credit score information. So we're speaking about your company's credit score, and also your business credit, your personal credit score. So what is your FICO right now? So Truist will ask you for that. I mean, they can check this themselves. They don't have to ask you, but they'll just ask as part of the approval process. They'll ask for your PATRIKIOS score if you do have one, which you should anyway. Then the number three, they'll ask about your business plan. So basically, how do you monetize your business? How do you actually make money? Right now in this economy with a lot of crazy things happening, I mean, banks, a lot of banks, including TRUIST, want to have a clear idea that you are running a tight ship, that you're not really like your ship is still it can still prove going concern abilities, so it can still survive. And so your business plan will actually shed some light on your ability to survive in this treacherous water treacherous waters that the economy is presenting right now to us. And so those treacherous water will actually will prove whether they're strong or not if you prove in the number 4, like the document number 4, your financial projections or your financial statements. So you have to prove to a truist what's going on about your business. You know, your balance sheet, your cash flow statements, your income statements, and your owner's equity statements. Those are important elements. And the last part that you want to prove also is your tax returns. So you got to show truist whether or not you have been filing returns. And we're speaking about federal tax returns, but also state tax returns. So it's actually a duality. It's not a one-time thing. It's not a one thing. It's not a one window thing. It's dual. I want to talk to you about some substitutes. The thing here is that if you are trying to really, if you let's say you want to apply for a truist business line of credit, and for some reason you cannot qualify, or something have changed, or like, a lot of stuff can happen, right? A lot of stuff can happen, and it's just one of those things where you're like, okay, now I need to have a backup plan. Maybe you need an SBA loan, or maybe you need a larger loan amount, or maybe you just need something else. So the thing is, there are two banks that are kind of similar to Truist. So you have a PNC and you have US Bank. So let's quickly go through the pros and cons of each. So Truist versus PNC. So if you want a commercial real estate loan over $250,000, or an SBA loan for that matter, you'll have to go with PNC over Truist, because Truist doesn't offer them as part of their small business lending line. You can also get much larger secure term loans and lines of credit with PNC, $3 million versus Truist's $250,000. All other products have similar limits, though it's hard to compare the lenders outside these parameters as neither share their rates. Okay, that's for Truist versus PNC. What about Truist versus US Bank? So if you want a larger unsecured term loan, Truist's max loan amounts are $50,000 higher than US Bank's. And maximum loan amounts are identical for other lines of credit and term loans, but Truist lends more for equipment financing, $250,000 versus US Bank's $1 million. And so what I want to say here is that the US Bank will lend significantly more for commercial real estate. So you have it lends up to $10 million, while Truist caps out at $250,000. And so US Bank also offers SBA products, while Truist does not. And US Bank, in our view, for all intents and purposes, it's far more transparent about its rates, but unfortunately, it's hard to compare the lenders on this metric because Truist doesn't share its own. So your best bet may be applying to all three lenders to see who gives you the best offer. But again, if you want to reduce your hard pulls, then see if you can first pre-qualify. It's always possible to pre-qualify, so you want to ask them first if you can pre-qualify before going through the whole thing. So you go to Truist, you go to PNC, and you go to US Bank. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was just quickly talking to you about how to get approved for a Truist business line of credit. So I give you the basics, the approach, the other business funding opportunities at the institution, the details, the eligibility, the paperwork, and the substitute. Thank you. God bless you. I'll speak to you another time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.